Good afternoon. I am Ma'am Jean, your English teacher. So I recorded this video so that you won't be able to join the Google Meet because I know that some of us is having troubles in terms of data connections and internet connections. Okay, so module number 5 is all about using direct and reported speech appropriately in varied contexts. Okay, so if you finish this particular module number 5, you are expected to differentiate direct and reported speech. You will know the difference between direct and reported speech. And also, you will be applying the correct tense of the verb, the appropriate pronoun to be used, and the use of quotation mark. And use direct and reported speech appropriately in varied contexts. So let us go directly in what is it part. So in what is it part, we can see the meaning of direct speech and reported speech. So when we say direct speech, it is the exact words that a person said. We put quotation marks around the words and add a speech tag such as he said or she asked before or after the quote. So we have here three examples. First, then the second example, then the third example. In the direct speech, it is composed of two parts. So the first part, the first part is called the explanatory part. Based on the first example, you can find the explanatory part in the first part of the sentence. While in the second example, you can find the explanatory part in the last part of the sentence or in the last part of the speech. And in the third example, same with example number 1, it is found in the beginning. Then the one with quotation mark, this is called quotation marks. Quotation marks is called the quoted part because it has quotation marks. And if you will notice, the explanatory part and the quoted part are separated with a comma. You can find here a comma. Then quoted part, comma, explanatory part. Explanatory part, comma, quoted part. So let us focus on example number 2. If you will notice, the comma is inside the quotation mark. Take note, inside the quotation mark. But if this is the format, and this is the format in where the explanatory part is written in the beginning, no need to put the comma inside the quotation mark. So again, if it is in the beginning, no need to write the comma inside the quotation mark. But if you will write this part at the end, you need to put the comma inside the quotation mark. Okay, I hope it is clear. So if we will explain this thoroughly, the exact word of the father is, I like to see the children of the complainant. That is the exact word of the father. And this one is the exact word of the man. I don't need a lawyer. And another exact word from that man, I like to cross-examine the complainant. Okay. Next, let us go on with reported speech or indirect speech. Don't be confused, they are the same. Reported speech or indirect speech. It is another way of saying what someone said, but without quotation marks. Again, without quotation marks. It doesn't usually repeat the words exactly as what the person said. It typically changes the tense of the verb and the pronoun. Remember, the tense of the verb will change and the pronoun. Okay, we have here examples of direct speech and reported speech or indirect speech. So the three examples a while ago. Father said, I like to see the children of the complainant. If we will change this sentence into reported speech, we need to copy this part. Just copy. So, this is the correct answer. Then we need to erase the comma. But for us to erase the comma, we need to change that into that. Change comma into that. Again, copy this. Yan. And then change comma into that. Excuse me. And then, we need to change the pronoun. This is a pronoun. Examples of pronoun, another, we have I, he, she, they, we. So, we need to change the pronoun. Since the father is male, no? Father is male gender. What pronoun are we going to use for a male gender? He. For female gender, we will be using she. So, since father is a male gender, that's why we need to change I to he. And then, since the tense of the verb is past tense, because of this one, we need to change like into past tense. Let us go back to the introduction. This one. So, how are we going to change the verbs into past tense? There are two rules. Sometimes, all you need to do is to add D or ED. Just like this. If the verb ends in letter E, all you need to do is to add D to make it past tense. If the verb is just like this, you need to add ED to make them past tense. But if the verb ends in Y, you need to change Y to I before adding ED. They are called regular verbs because all you need to do is to add D or ED. In this particular chart, if you will notice, from B, it becomes was and were. The spelling changes. From come, it becomes came. From go, instead of adding D or ED just like this, it becomes went. The spelling changes. From know, it becomes knew. Yan. From make, it becomes made. And there are many words, many verbs under this. We have sing, it becomes sang. Eat, it becomes ate, and so on. And these are called irregular verbs. Now, let us go back to the example a while ago. So, just like what I said, we need to change this. Copy this, diba? Copy this. And then, change comma to that. This one. Then, change the pronoun I into the pronoun suited for the father. And father is a male gender, so we will use he. We need to change like into past tense, so the correct answer is liked. And just copy the remaining part of the sentence. To see the children of the complainant. To see the children of the complainant. Period. So, no need to put quotation mark. So, from this sentence, from this direct speech, it becomes reported speech. Another, I don't need a lawyer, he said. If you will notice, this one is written at the end. So, all you need to do is to write that in the beginning. Can you see? It is now written in the beginning. Then, we need to erase again the comma. So, in erasing the comma, we need to use that. And change the pronoun. So, in here, we have a clue. We already use he. So, therefore, just copy it. He. And what is the past tense of don't? It will become didn't. And just copy the remaining part of the sentence. Need a lawyer. Need a lawyer. Period. So, from direct speech, it becomes reported speech or indirect speech. Another, she said, I like to cross-examine the complainant. So, she said, just copy it. Then, what are we going to do with the comma? Change comma into that. And change the pronoun I into what pronoun? Just copy this, she. And change like into past tense. Then copy the rest of the sentence. So that is how you change direct speech into reported speech. You need to change the present tense into past tense. Okay, another example. My teacher said, the doctors and nurses are the modern day heroes. So, the same with the examples a while ago. Just copy my teacher, change the comma into that. Then, since this one is in a word form, no need to change the pronoun. Just copy it. The doctors and nurses. Then are is in the present form. You need to change that into past form. The past form of are is were. The past form of is was. Remember that. Are to were, is to was. So since this is are, we will be using were. Next, copy the remaining part of the sentence, the modern day heroes, then period. So from direct speech, it is now reported speech. Next, he says, I need your cooperation. So what are we going to do? If you will notice, this one is different because a while ago we used said. We use said. In this example, we use said. This one becomes says. So, therefore, we will be using present tense because of this. Because of says. So, just copy. Same step. Just copy. Then change the comma into that. And change the pronoun because we need to copy this. And then, since the pronoun is singular, we need to add s. No? We need to add s. That is the rule regarding subject-verb agreement. So, I hope you have that lesson in elementary. So, if the subject is singular, just like he, siya in Tagalog, siya, isa lang siya. So, we need to add s. Pag marami sila, no need to add s. But in some cases, when we use I and you, no need to add s. That's why you will say, I love you. Mali when you say, I loves you. No, that is wrong. So when we use I and you, no s in this part. But when we use he, she, or Anna, Rona, we need to add s in this part. So again copy this, change comma into that, change I to this, kasi you already have clue, and then put s because it is singular, si he is singular, and just copy the remaining part of the sentence, are. So instead of using your, it will become are. So he says that he needs our cooperation. Next, another. She said, all people want to have a good future. So, all you need to do is to copy she said, change comma into that, then copy all people. Since this is past tense, all you need to do is to add ed to want, just like the regular verb that we discussed a while ago, wanted. And then copy the rest of the sentence. So, from those direct speeches, they are now become reported speeches or indirect speeches. And we have here examples. So, we have here examples of pronoun. And what are you going to do with the pronoun? If you change direct to reported speech. Ayan, we have here another example. Noah said, we help our parents in cleaning the house. No, just copy Noah said. Noah said, change comma into that. And then, instead of using we will be using they. So, this particular pronoun, instead of using this pronoun, we will be using this pronoun in changing direct to indirect speech. So, from he, it becomes they. From he, it becomes they. They Then we need to change help into past tense, helped. Then are, we change are into there, this one. And then copy the remaining part of the sentence. Yan, copy the remaining part of the sentence. So that's all. And it has many examples. Yan, it has many examples. Remember, in direct speech, always put the actual words that the speaker quoted inside the quotation marks. So this is the actual word that the pastor say. No, this is the actual word. So we have to continue to pray are the exact words that the pastor said. That is why the sentence is inside the quotation marks. No, always consider the pronoun and verb when you will use in transforming that you will use in transforming direct speech to recorded speech or vice versa. The same format. So if you want to use she says, Sophia says, it's okay. But if you want to change says into said, it's okay as well. But so you need to change everything in the past tense. But if you want to use Sophia says, you need to change everything in the present tense. In this particular example, it uses past tense. That's why we use said. So Sophia said, change comma into that. Change I into Sophia. Since Sophia is a girl, we will be using she. Then change and roll into past tense. And then copy the remaining part of the sentence. Okay, so I hope everything is clear. Try to remember that all the explanation are in the what is it part. Thank you. Thank you everyone.